Hi, this is Angela McClellan, and you are listening to Divinely Connected. This is your weekly guidance for May 28th through to June 3rd. So, if you're new here, you definitely want to hit that follow button. I am here every week giving you a weekly forecast as well as weekday daily messages. So far for this week, we do have 5 cards pulled. I'm excited to see what's going on. Starting out with the Empress energy, loving this. I feel like this is exactly where we are, especially after last week and having a lot of that emotions purged, a lot of grieving energy coming in, right? So remember, grief is not only for departed loved ones, grief is for anything that once was that no longer is. So there is this almost letting go of what life was to make room for what life will be. And that has been coming in a lot of deep, deep, deep layers. You may have also found over the last, really like 6 to 8, maybe even 12 months, that it has been very hard to have that get up and go, to get that momentum. We may be starting tasks, starting programs, starting to work on changing our habits, etc. But you may have found that it was very hard to keep the momentum or any consistency with that. They are showing that with this energy is as we go through this week, that energy is going to be behind us, and that it's going to be easier to stay on tasks, to stay on goals, getting things completed, things that have even been in the works, because they just said 12 years. So we have major cycles that are coming in, right? Major cycles that are coming into completion, that things that we have been putting out into motion, things that we have been manifesting or working on or healing is coming into completion. So it does make sense that we've been feeling so emotional over the last couple of days, weeks. Okay. And don't forget, we do have a full moon coming in towards the end of this week as well. So this is another amazing time to be able to release anything else that is lingering in. The card itself says time to take action. Give birth to your dreams, creative projects that will be very successful, abundance and prosperity. This is the time to do things. And it's so interesting. Oh my God, I love this card. The Magician card came out with it too. It says magic is alive in your life. What you need to be successful will manifest. If you believe it, you can do it. So again, a lot of positivity coming in, reassurance. If you were wondering about timelines, if you were wondering when things were shifting, you're definitely in the shift right now. If there's things that you're wanting to launch, if you want to put your house on the market, if you're wanting to go for that promotion, if you're wanting to make the changes, if you're wanting to change any wellness habits that you have, this is the time where the universal energy is supporting it, because they are showing that only successes are coming in, and that it's not only successes are coming in, if the energy is supporting change, energy is supporting momentum now, where before it was very much, 2 steps forward, 5 steps back type of energy. We are now into this forward motion. What I love about this is that it's not overwhelmingly fast. It doesn't feel like we're going full speed ahead and we're going to be overwhelmed with it. It just feels like finally my efforts feel like they're going somewheres. It feels like all of these things that I have been doing and wanting and working on are now actually showing up in tangible ways in my life, where I'm able to see that it was worthwhile. That alone is going to give you more energy to continue moving forward, right? There's nothing worse than being in that energy and being in that start of something where you're trying to, being like, okay, I'm going to put all my eggs in this basket and I'm going all in and I want this to work. But then there's like no instant gratification, or there's not even, subtle gratification or results, because then for a while, there's a little bit of timeline. Think about how, if we're wanting to lose a few pounds, right? You go to the gym, you eat salad, doesn't change nothing for at least 3 months, right? So it's within that time frame of needing to mentally say, this is going to work, this is going to work, this is not going to waste my time and energy, I'm going to stick to the plan and it is going to work. Trusting in the process, right? It's hard to trust in the process when you don't have that energy back, right? So what they're saying is, now you're going to have some momentum, but you're going to have that energy back. You may not be at the end of the completion of this task or this goal, but the energy back is going to keep you motivated and keep you inspired moving forward. And it's just going to be a lot easier, instead of riding uphill, right? Where it really feels like everything is kind of, hard at this time. Now there is all right. This is very interesting to me. Okay. So one, we do have, Okay. So there does seem to be quite the interaction as well coming in here. Connected with others, connecting with, I don't know how to interpret that. So there feels like there's going to be challenges coming in connected to relationships and connecting to communications. It does feel like it has I want to say stature to it. Like it feels like these are difficult conversations because they're either with like our priest, our boss, our, you know what I mean? Someone that would be, we would feel like is above us or that we may have some type of intimidation emotions connected to it. There's also this sense of, because what it does, and that's what it is, it makes you feel like that little girl or boy version of yourself. It makes you feel immediately like you don't know what's best, that you haven't had any life experiences, and all of a sudden, all this confidence that you have worked for, it has almost converted you back to that younger inner child version of yourself. Right. And what's interesting about this is they're saying, okay, and I do feel like there's a little bit of heads up with this. So this is something that is good. This isn't something that's coming in and going to be blindsiding you. This is either like a set meeting, or you know that there's something that you need to say. So there is time to kind of gather yourself, because they're saying like the high priestess card, which is all about connecting with yourself, connecting with your soul, connecting with your intuition, kind of grounding your energy, using your intuition to lead you forward with this. So something that I love, because obviously I'm a super sensitive person, and I do need help with my emotions when I'm trying to have difficult conversations or firm conversations. So I do ask my divine team to help me with this, because I can feel so much energy all the time. It can be very overwhelming for me, or I'll be crying, or, and all of that does take away from the impact or from the message that we're wanting to convey. So I do ask my divine team, and I challenge you to do this, because it really makes such a difference. And especially if you're going into a conversation or a meeting where you do feel all of these emotions swirling around, is ask your divine team to help. I ask my divine team to please help me through this experience, through this communication. Please allow me to remember everything that I want to say, and for me to articulate it in a simplistic and efficient way, and to please keep my emotions at bay until after the experience, so that my emotions do not take away or influence the experience or the way that I want to communicate. And it literally works. It's amazing the difference that it feels, because it can be very hard, right? And especially when emotions come in, to stay and be able to articulate what it is that you want to say. And the deal is like you have to feel it sometime, right? So like it's not saying like take these emotions and I don't want them, because that's also not healthy for us, right? But let me feel them later. So it's like when I get in the car or when I get home, right? And it literally comes out, and I have all my emotions about it, and better out than in, and you got to feel it to release it and all of that. And then it's great. So I do challenge you, because it literally makes such a difference. And you do get everything else that you want to say. And then you're not going back and over analyzing it and having that anxiety and replaying it and trying to change it in your mind, right? So it does bring in a lot of peace for you. Now, in addition to that, this is bringing up inner child stuff. So we understand what is happening, right? We understand that this feeling of being inferior is coming in from that inner child space. So not only are we going to acknowledge it and, ask for a divine team to help us, but also don't forget that we need to go back and heal that, right? And one of my favorite ways, and that is very simple, and remember that, healing and our life and our intuition isn't supposed to be tricky. It's not supposed to trick us. We're not supposed to have to earn it. It is our birthright. It is a part of us. So that little version of yourself still lives on within us, right? So, and it can come out and be triggered at any time by any situation. What I like to do, and it is very simplistic, but stay with me, is that I go and I revisit that little girl, right? From what I know now, I parent her, right? So there's a lot of the times there's or unrealistic expectations. Sometimes we get into that habit of, we look back at that version, younger version, could still be 20s, 30s, whatever it is, that younger version of yourself. And we can look back into them and go and hold them accountable to what we know now. which is just unfair and unrealistic, right? At 10 years old, I did not know what I know now. At 20 years old, at 38 years old, I did not know what I know now, right? So you look back with compassion, right? And I go to that little girl and I explain the situation. I'll explain why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, if you're wronged, if there was neglect, if there was abuse, if there was whatever the situation that is coming up for you. And then I remind her that she is so loved and you're so wonderful and you're beautiful on the inside and on the outside and you're safe. And, and give her that reassurance and love that she needed then. Right. And it literally makes such a difference. And I know that you may feel silly being like, oh my God, I'm just like imagining this and this is so silly. And I feel so stupid and vulnerable and weirded out because all of this is in my head. But I tell you, it makes a difference. It's the intention. It's going to that younger version of you. That person, that younger version still exists, still lives within you, right? So it is important for you to go back and tell her that you love her. Tell her that she was good, or that her mistake wasn't that big of a deal anyways. And everybody makes mistakes. And you know what I mean? And I think that that is going to make such a difference that every time your inner child comes up, you know what to do. You love her. You parent her, you console her, you show her compassion. And what you'll find is your confidence, your everyday, how you feel about yourself, how you communicate to yourself, all of a sudden it starts to get a little softer, a little bit more positive, right? And it's because you're going back to all of these versions of yourself that lives within your energy and giving them the love and the compassion and the support that they deserved all along. Okay. And that's going to be something that is going to help you through this. And again, just understanding what is happening doesn't prevent it from happening or doesn't veto you from having these experiences. It helps you understand what's happening, have some compassion for yourself as you go through it, and there's less criticism. There's a lot of us, we have this bad habit of condemning yourself for having emotions or making a mistake or having the blinders on and not seeing something for the way that it was, right? So when we understand, like, listen, this is part of the human experience. Everybody is feeling this. Everybody is having these experiences. What we do with them is a reflection of the love and support and emotional intelligence that we had and the way that we were brought up and the relationships that we have been and where we were in our developmental years in the global region, and everything plays into it, right? So, and a lot of that we do not have control over. So cut yourself some freaking slack. You're doing the best that you can. Maya Angelou has this quote, and it is my go-to quote, especially when vulnerability, anxiety, or shame stories come up for me. And it goes something like this: you do the best that you can. And when you know better, you do better. We do have some learning coming in as well this week. And this is really interesting. So I do feel like, so I do feel like that there is this wanting to sign up for, right? So wanting to sign up for. So whether this is like, I'm going to sign up for the gym, or I'm going to sign up for a workout program, or I'm going to, whatever, go back to school, or I'm going to change paths and change. There is an essence of going, why do you got to do this right now? Because it does feel like we may be doing it out of fear, or, yeah, is that the right word? Desperation? Insecurity? I'm trying to figure out what they're making me feel. I'll tell you what it feels, and for lack of better terms, it feels like we're doing it for a quick fix. So, well, if I do this, I'm not happy with this, I'm not happy, but if I do this, then that will change and everything will change. And which it could, right? Which it could, but I feel like we need to take a step back before we sign on the dotted line or throw the money at it and go, okay, hang on, let me take a minute. Let me plan. Let me wait and sleep on it. Let me wait until next Monday. And if it's something that I still want to do, then I will sign up for it. Whether it be Weight Watchers or university programs or yoga instructor, whatever it is, there is this feeling of pause and reflect, so that we can be able to acknowledge or bring the awareness to, where is this coming from? What is actually fueling this? Now, it does feel like it is a great time for change. And this pause is either going to say, yes, this is what I want. Awesome. Then go ahead for it. You may also just need to process some emotions to make sure that what you're feeling is exactly what you want to be doing it, and it is the right outcome for that. Hitting that pause button as well may give you the time to go, is this just a sense of needing to do something, make me feel like I'm doing something, or is this impulsive, or is this actually what I need? Right? There's so many people who sign up for like online classes or sign up for webinars or buy books, and then they just sit there collecting dust, and you don't log into your educational content because there was a reason what fueled you to do it. But I think that there needs to be a little bit of awareness brought into, okay, but why am I feeling that panicked? Right? And taking that pause is really going to weed it out of, is this something that you really want? Or are we just trying to make a bad feeling go away? Right? And that clarity is going to save you some moolahs. So take the pause. There's also some changes coming in within relationships as well. So there is a little bit of a reset, and I'm not going to limit this to romantic relationships. I'm going to say all relationships that you value, because they're saying that there is the failing to recognize love and opportunity and success. So we may be viewing relationships from an imbalanced way where we are highly critical, or there's some resentment, or we're feeling as though, they're not helping out, or I'm giving more than they are. And I think that there needs to be a little bit of a step back, because this really does feel like it is a reflection of you. Right. And it really does feel like that this potentially can come in with some spicy words, but there is the feeling of needing to review and to kind of look over. And, a lot of the times when this resistance or this type of energy comes in within relationships, then it really is a reflection of us. Right. So are we lacking in boundaries? Are we giving more than we're receiving? Are we people pleasing? So just remember, sometimes when we're giving more than we're receiving, we're giving for our own self, right? We're giving because we can't say no, or we're giving because that would give us, we would feel like bad people, or you know what I mean? And a lot of the times there are situations and experiences, whether this is with like your in-laws or your parents or your adult children or their teachers, or however this comes in, where we feel um, like there is like two totally different experiences that are happening. That's what the feeling is. It's like you're having all this feeling and you're having this experience, and that is legitimately your experience, but people outside of you are not having that experience. Right? So that's when we kind of need to take that step back and bring in this reflection and go, okay, hang on, is there something that I can do to make this a better feeling experience for me? Especially if this is relationships that you value, or relationships that you are in, and that there is that communication. How can I make this better for me? If something is giving you resentment and it's burning you out, then that means that you're giving it way more than you're receiving. You know who can change that? You. Right? So that's where we go, okay, listen, I can only control myself. I only have power over myself. So what can I do to make some shifts to be able to change the dynamics or the energy of this situation and the energy of this experience? Only you can do that by reflecting your end. We cannot control other people. We can say, listen, I need this from you, and this is how you're making me feel. And they may change and they may not. Who can change 100% of the time? You. So that is where you go and you check with you first, right? And then you make a plan of what am I going to do? If I communicate and then they still don't care, what am I going to do then? Right? But again, remember, when you go from your energy, then you're always in control of you. You always have that feeling of self-power, because then you can articulate it, you can give it the energy or not, you can partake or not, you can overextend or not, and then you are back into the choices of your own energy. Okay. Don't forget, you have the ability to make everything more beautiful. There does feel like there is an opportunity coming in this week that we're feeling a little bit shy about. I think that it would bring in a lot of joy. I think that it would actually be very fun for you. So whether this is going out socializing, going to a show, going to a play, going out on a first date, whatever it is, I feel like you're going to be like, but like, let's go for it. Let's go and have that good energy, that good experience, because it definitely does feel like it's going to be a positive for you. All right. So this is your weekly guidance. This is from May 28th to June 3rd. Hard to believe we are getting halfway through this year of 2023. Don't forget, we do have that full moon. If I remember correctly, I think it's in the 2nd or the 3rd of June. So you may be feeling some of that energy coming up. It may still be another emotional week for you, but definitely take some comfort from knowing that a lot of people are feeling this energy, as well as have compassion with communications. Because if you're feeling highly emotional, and you understand that others are too, that may also affect interactions, especially like out of the home. I think we talked about this last week where I was like, if you're in the service industry, like definitely watch out because it feels like there's going to be some spiciness. It does feel like it's a little bit more subtle, but that emotional energy is still here this week. So definitely take some time to balance out, have compassion, understand that everybody is just trying to get through this week too. All right, come back next week for your weekly guidance. Have a great week, everyone.